Welcome, everyone, to episode 207 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Penteleresco. I write stuff in podcast 2. Today, my guest is Kai Kiriyama, which continues my One Words Collide Conversations, my second last one. Kai impressed me. Just a couple backstory here. Kai and I have been talking about hanging out, meeting up, just doing an interview, I think, for about 2 years. And we've known each other off and on. And there's, I think, a bit of I definitely admire her. I think there's a bit of an admiration for what I do as well. I could be wrong on this, but who knows. That all said, I'm always blown away when a lot of people talk. And they say they want to do things. I think the thing that blew me away. Well, first off, I had no idea how prolific Kai was prior to me meeting her, let alone doing this podcast. But second, just how gung ho and going for it she really is. I admire the hell out of that. A lot of people, I think probably the coolest thing that there's certain people I really admire. Because I feel like there's this balls to the wall. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm not afraid to lose. I'm just going out there. Here I am, world. I love that. I really do. And Kai, to me, exemplifies that. So, I'm gonna get to the conversation now. But yeah, that was the impression I left having it. I think you will have it too once we're done. All right, let's get to the conversation.
Oh my god.
So I turned the recorder on.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, so anything incriminating you'd like to say, make it good.
So did I tell you what the time I killed? No, I'm kidding.
You're like, no, I will not reveal my hideous secrets on your podcast. It's all good.
I think I promised my insidious secrets to a different podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Wow. I feel someone beat me to the punch. Dang.
So this is honestly the second podcast I've ever recorded for in my entire life. And the first one we just talked about adulting and Zelda fandom and cooking. So,
Well, we'll see where this goes. I'm just going to ask first and foremost, how are you?
Well, we're at a convention, so, exhausted beyond all comprehension at this point, but...
I'm in that weird zen-y place where it's just like... So my personal high was I did the Dr. Seuss off I did yesterday.
I know, and I'm so upset that I missed that. I was on a panel that I feel could have gone a little better. It ended up very serious for what it was about, and it was just a little disappointing.
It happened. I had planned to do karaoke yesterday for my first panel podcasting, but it got really serious. But not in a bad way, just one of those things where the information I was offering people were really wanting, so it was more important than anything else I was doing. So that was the best service I could provide for them.
Absolutely.
All right, so I did that. That became the focus. And then, but all the goofing off stuff, I made up for that much later. Holy crap!
I was just talking to Naomi, and she was like, "Yeah, I did Yoda voice and I did opera as Yoda," and I'm like, I missed the best panel because we were just being really super serious over on the other side, and I'm so sad.
I actually wonder what the people inside thought when we were laughing so freaking hard in our room.
It sounds like it was a blast, so
yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was the smartest idea I've ever come up with. Whatever it is.
Are you planning on doing it next?
Oh yeah. Okay. The only thing I gotta figure out is I gotta figure out another good book, not necessarily a Dr. Seuss book, but another really good book to fit. Like Fox and Socks is definitely going to come back. Oh, Say Can You Say it may or may not come back. I thoroughly enjoyed how evil that book is.
It is pretty evil, isn't it?
Is it right? But the highlight for me was the voices. Oh my god, I was in tears. Naomi almost made me piss myself twice yesterday. Like she was great. Her, Elaine, Risa, and Faye. I was going to give Faye a book. She won a contest. The first the Fox and Socks round.
Yeah.
And but Faye was so good on it was a Russian. She was singing the Russian voice of Fox and Socks. She was so good at that that I gave her all $3. You earned this. And oh my God, I was giddy for an hour after that because I was like, anything stupid that came up, I was like this. Okay, I need to go laugh now. I'm still dead now.
Oh man,
that's
the best.
Yeah. Well, the thing about conventions, generally speaking, this is the one thing I've noticed about a lot of them. They don't. Adults miss recess. That's the honest.
Oh God, absolutely.
Yeah, right. Adults miss recess, and basically what my panel was recess. That was what that was. It was a literary recess for writers, agents. I know for like someone like Naomi, she gets chased down all the time by people, and she's a bit of an angel for her patients. Because I'm sure there are moments where she's like, just leave me alone. But let off some steam, come back. Even though her voice may or may not be functional today.
It's okay. I talked to her. I saw her in the hallway on the way here. And so we were heading this way over. She's okay. She's got her voice.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yes. But the thing of it was, right? So the thing of it was, right? She, like, someone like her needs something like
Absolutely.
that, right?
We all do, really.
Yeah, we all do. And so I was like, so it started as a fun thing. I challenged Vanessa Cardaway to a box and socks up at the open mic. That's where the idea for this actually spawned from.
Okay.
I felt so bad. So Tim Reynolds watched us do it. He was like, I feel so. That was either the best suits or the worst suits I've ever seen. I'm not sure. So then he comes up and does the Rainbow Connection and all the Muppet voices. It's phenomenal. Beautiful. I pitied who followed that. It's like, we were good. I think Tim was actually better. But like, I don't know how you top that. Good luck. It's like
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Rest him. He was like, even Robin Williams would not want to follow Robin Williams when he did his stand-up, because how do you top that?
You don't. You do something else. The only thing you can do in a situation like that is like, oh, I can't do this, right? People, it's like from a show perspective, you got the people laughing their asses off. So the person coming in trying to do the same thing, it's already been done. You're not going to get.
Yeah, it's like the rule of improv. You end a scene on a joke because otherwise you get stuck in the forever one-up, and it just destroys your
so
performance. Right?
Yeah. Or you change the show. Like if a monologue or like a serious play right after the joke is good. The crowd's ready to go on that roller coaster now, right? Mm-hmm. But that's showmanship kind of roles. Well, like my whole theme for what this has become my brand personally. I don't know. I think I translates well on my Twitter and my Facebook. I goof off. That's essentially all I do is goof off.
Oh yeah, you gotta be like, everything is so dark. So why not be that little ray of sunshine where people can guarantee that you're gonna come over and or they can come over to your personal space online or whatever and just get some entertainment rather than the constant.
Yep.
Doom and gloom that is everywhere else, and I try to keep that on my Twitter as well, but lately it's just been a garbage fire. We gotta get back to that ridiculous fun.
You gotta get back. I'm already there.
I know, you're already there. I gotta get back.
Yes. I'm already there.
Somebody put out this garbage fire for me. I can't.
Well, let's see. Let's actually get serious for a moment. So you have written 3 books at this point?
I have 12.
Holy crap.
I will have, my next books are coming out on August 28th, and that'll put me at a dozen.
You're a dozen books?
Yeah, published.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm sorry, I feel sheepish.
That's okay. I
have 3.
I'm super, okay, but I've been publishing longer than you.
Oh yeah, I know.
So, don't feel sheepish. I'm super proud, and your books are fantastic.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
But no, I'm talking about no. I feel sheepish about the number. I thought I've seen 3 of your books.
Oh yeah. No. I have a dozen. I just don't.
Why not?
Want them as much because they're so different. They're so wildly different. Like I have 4 zombie books. I have a standalone Dracula book. I have a standalone romance in a comic shop. I have a fantasy western. I have a standalone Shakespearean retelling, and then I've got my noir detective.
So
So it's kind of like literally a little something for everybody.
You're talking to a dude that's coming out with a book board game combination next year.
That's rad.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I like legitimately I'm all over the place. But I mean I don't want to, like, me personally, I don't want to do the same thing.
No, why would you?
Yeah.
Like, there's only so many things that you can do in, like, the zombie genre.
Yeah.
And so, when I started that one with Patient Zero, that was supposed to be a standalone, but the people who loved it wanted the rest of the story, like, what happened after that one. And I didn't want to do it, and I feel like the next two books they're much, much weaker than that first book, just because I hadn't prepared anything. And so it went from the story of the first person to get sick with the zombie virus into a zombie survival thing, which I didn't want to do. I just wanted to be like one guy.
I think you should have stuck to your guns.
The series is not terrible.
No. It's not. That's not why I'm saying that, because this is what I know. This is what I've learned this year, because I tried writing it. I'm happy. I wrote my first noir story this year. It's a nihilistic thing.
Yeah.
It kind of starts with a prison rape scene and it gets darker.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah. It's complete. It's not what I normally do at all.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a dark, creepy, cool little world with a protagonist I don't like. I don't know I'm going to publish it. The reason why I don't know I'm going to publish it, strictly speaking, it's a character I don't like. And while that's not I love the concepts and some of the ideas in there.
Yeah.
But it's a question of intent, right? I did this kind of on an intellectual basis because I want to see if I could tell a darker story, like an actually a really darker story, and could I change my voice, right, to something that would be by its very nature super uber dark.
Yes.
Right, and the answer I found is, I can do that, and but it's not me exactly, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, and the reason I bring that up, going back to you, because my intentions aren't necessarily the best for this. I'm not sure. Right. Now, I might publish it eventually. Anyway, I don't think it's a terrible story, and bizarrely enough, the people who have read it want me to read more. So it's like
that's kind of where it came from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if I hadn't done the full Patient Zero, the pathogen book, if I hadn't done all three, I wouldn't have done Surviving Rapture, which is, in my opinion, it's one of my favorite books. I'm constantly sold out. Whenever I do a print run, it's the first one that sells out because it's Battle Royale with zombies.
Yeah.
Or the Hunger Games with zombies. Like, it's a survival game that's they're dropped into a demilitarized zone, and there's a whole other world behind it that you never really see because you're just focused on that one game part. And people want a sequel to that, and I'm just like, there is a sequel that I have in mind, but I'm kind of a little bit tired of the zombie thing, so maybe I'll bring it back later. And I personally, that was like in my opinion, it was one of my best books. But had I not done the other ones, I would never have done that one.
That's a fair point. The only reason I'm bringing all this up is, okay, to my original point, you should show up all your stuff because you've done all these things, and they're all there. And maybe I'm gonna say if I say your name wrong, please don't beat me. What? Kai Kiriyama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kai Kiriyama, wants to be more known for her horror, which is totally fine, right? But you've done other things. They're as much a part of you as anything else. And the other thing too is you got to look at this from the point of view of variety. I might not want your horror, but I might not like your
But I can't sit and do a panel like this and have a dozen books on the table in front of me.
No,
so I tend to showcase my newest stuff as opposed to showcasing everything.
Yeah, but even when I've seen you on tables, I've only seen a handful of the books.
Oh, that's because that's all I had.
Yeah.
Okay. So like at my table last.
It was 2 years ago when I saw you.
So 2 years ago I only had like 4 books.
Yeah.
So like in those past 2 years I've published easily 6 or 7 books.
Wow.
So yeah, no, and then like this year I just didn't do anything. Like this past year from like last Edmonton Expo, so last September to now, I haven't put anything out. There's just been nothing. I've been super burned out and just I took a year off to try and recover from pushing yourself that hard, putting out 4 or 5 books in a year, that was just...
That's interesting, because a lot of my friends are doing that right now. They're putting like a whole bunch of books at once, and I worry about that. I kind of look at what Craig Louis said about word count to price point. You know what I mean? Because you write, let's say 10,000 words. Let's say, like, how much is 10,000 words actually worth?
Exactly.
Right, yeah. Right. So, and he equated it to $1. I thought that's actually like for in terms of a book price, and I'm like, you know what? That's actually a really good equation. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books, like in 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I'm abnormally prolific when I'm on my game. Like, I am abnormally prolific. An average writing a day before this whole burnout happened was easily 5,000 words a day. And then just situation, like, life happened and a lot of bad stuff kept piling up, which contributed to this burnout. And it started 2 years ago when I had lost my good job. And so it just kind of like piled up and just culminated in a burnout, and I am just now coming out of that burnout, and I'm just flexing my writing muscles again and coming back to getting to that level. So but I feel like at the same time, that whole burnout, that whole period of not being able to write anything, I feel like I've come out, I've read more, I've read my old works more, I've watched more film and television and just seen more of what's going on in that whole entertainment world. So I feel like coming back to it now, it's like, okay, well, this is now more what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And then in this burnout, I've also made myself a 2-year plan, so I know exactly what books are coming out and what I need to do, and I have the whole schedule. I haven't announced any of these yet, so I can't really talk about it yet.
I'm going to just ask how many.
For books?
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
In the next 18 months or so, starting in 2019, I've got about 5 that I want to, which is like one every 3 months, but they're all in a series, and so it's me working back. No, wait, it's 5 that I have to write, 5 new ones, and then I've got Blaze Tuesday, which is my detective novel, they're coming out. I've got a romance coming out, but those ones are done, so I don't count those. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's closer to 8 books total coming out in the next, but 4 of them are done. No.
It's definitely ambitious. Like that's definitely like a very ambitious game plan. I'm not like Grace Island. It just I put out on average 1 a year, and they're not big. They're not big books, or like they're just a variety of different things. I have 2 books that are close right now. Yeah. They're literally improving final, like the past the writing part of the equation. So now it's just like proofing and ready to go. And I may have another book done before the end of the year. So, but I release them a lot more statically, because it's not that I can't. And I also do a podcast, kind of. It's become kind of a full-time job in and of itself.
Well, I appreciate you having me on here today. This is fun.
Yes. But I guess the point I'm getting across, I recognize that like you're prolific, and that is amazing and awesome, and I'm certainly not criticizing you for any plan you've come up with. But on the same token, it's just like when you put that many words out, right? I worry about another burnout, another like.
Well, that's why I'm like, so with this plan that I'm working on, I'm with the release plan. Like, the books that are coming out this year are finished, and they've been finished for more than they were supposed to come out like previously, and then life happened and they just weren't able to come out. So it's mostly that these were pushed back, so it's already done. It's like I just have to format and get my cover art and do that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's just like those final things, and they're not coming out. Well, the Blaze Tuesday ones are coming out like right now, but again, they were done, and I'm fixing up the formatting, and because there's always a problem. I was like, yes, I'm ahead of the game, and then my line edits didn't save properly, so I'm going back through going, why are there all these typos? Oh my god. So
you're like, I hate myself.
I'm like, I need a drink or several or some coffee, I'm not sure which.
Drink, coffee, drug, something.
Just take some mushrooms and like edit this book, I don't know. But
all of a sudden it's like My Wild Acid Trip Night by Kai.
I mean, if you've got, no, I'm kidding.
But that's okay.
So it's not that I'm writing 8 books right now. I'm writing 2 books right now to be released in early 2019. And so the plan is going like, there's going to be 2 once I announce it, and you'll get the announcement probably in November-ish, so that we could do the whole marketing hype for like a January release. I can't remember exactly the dates. I have them all written down. I'm like this ridiculously organized individual. I have like one of those giant calendars on my desk, and I have an agenda, and I have like a whiteboard, and it's like...
Do you have a flow chart that has like Battleship B6? This is what happens here.
That's basically my calendar.
Yeah, it's your like, a giant... and there's like a giant Battleship board.
I wish. I should make one.
Yeah, that would
have a huge desk right now.
You have a huge desk, and it would be a more fun way to schedule things.
That would be fun.
Yeah. You could literally go like C7. Nope, Dan got something there. D6. You sunk my... Oh.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But that's basically how I use my calendar. Is like, okay, I've got my weekly word count goals. So it's like I have to hit 10,000 on this one project. And then like maybe I'll work on one project one week. And then the next week will be like marketing stuff where I'm not actually adding new words to whatever project I'm working on. It's kind of like, so this week's going to be edits. So then the next week, it's more words. So there's kind of that balance between everything. So everything gets done and then everything gets scheduled. And it's like, this week I'm going to buffer my blog or whatever.
I get, you kind of like have like you are incredibly efficient with your time.
I try to be. And then there's also like days where you're, especially coming out of burnout, it's just like there's days where you don't want to work. Yeah. And so on those days where it's like I cannot sit at my computer or sit with my iPad and write, it's like I can't do that. I don't feel so bad. So like my day, like I don't break it down into daily word counts.
Yes.
Or I do, but I don't. I go weekly word counts are like the more important thing, so that your monthly word count, especially when you're balancing more than one project. So it's like if you've got I'm working on like writing the projects that are coming out next year, and it's so hard to just not be like, I'm doing this thing because I haven't announced them yet, but I'm also working on one that is going to go to Query.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just like that one's more on the back burner than the other ones. But the one that's more on the back burner, this one that I'm working on, it's a space opera, and I'll take that one and I'll write it at work because I have the leeway where there's no schedule for it. So I kind of just write that one. I'll write it on my iPad when I'm sitting at work before my shift or after my shift while I wait for my ride or on the bus or whatever. I'll kind of...
You make time. Like I remember when I was working 2 jobs once upon a time, I sometimes only had 15 minutes to write. You can plow 500 words in 15 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You just got to be that motivated. And so anyway, so it's like, so for the ones that have a schedule, that it's like this has to be done by this time so that I can send it to my editor or get my beta group or whoever it is who's reading this. So I'll be like, okay, so the whole thing needs to be done by the end of the month. So the monthly word count goal is 30,000 words or 50,000, whatever, however much you're getting. So then you break it down into weeks. So you'll literally have a whole week where if you get nothing done, you still have.
Which is good. So it almost like you built-in rest time for yourself.
Well, I automatically, when I'm doing my schedule, I automatically schedule myself weekends. I'm doing the air quotes. You can't see them on the podcast, but it's like a weekend. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's Saturday, Sunday.
I almost want to do the rest of the conversation. We just air quote the whole way.
Air quote the whole
thing.
Conversation.
That's right.
Because you have to put that inflection that you're doing the air quotes.
Can you at least do Captain Kirk that way? We are talking about scheduling our time together.
I am terrible at the Kirk voice.
But the timing does exist. Man, okay, I'm sorry.
You have to add a period in there and a semicolon, and it's just really weird. But no, so it's like the harder goals are your weekly goals rather than your daily goals. Because if you have a day where you're like super in the zone and you write 5,000 words and say your weekly goal is like 8,000 words or something. Well, okay, so you've just written 5,000 words in a day. Keep those words. Don't edit as you go. Never edit as you go. Ever.
That's the one. That's the hardest rule for a writer to keep.
Don't because if you write 5,000 words and you have an 8,000 word goal or like even a 7,000, you're like 1,000 words a day, 7, and you're doing 7 days a week. So, which I don't recommend because you burn out. But like, so if you have a 7,000 word goal, that's 1,000 words a day. But if you have a day where you're like, super in the zone and you write like 3,000 words, well now you can reasonably take 2 days off. Or you can reasonably, if your next day is only 200 words, now you're at 3,200 words. You're halfway to your goal in 2 days for that week. So my daily word count goals are no longer, I have to do 7,000 words today because I'm writing a 100,000 word epic. It's now more like, as long as I hit 10,000 words on this week, because I'm doing an 80,000 word or whatever, and I have 2 months to do it. So now it's just like, as long as I get 10,000 words in this week, regardless of how many words I write in a day, then it's like, cool, I've done. And then the other thing that I do is if I make sure that I do 7 days, if I push myself to do 7 days in a row, then my weekend is going to be the next 2 days off.
Yes.
Because otherwise if you don't schedule that, like if I go, I'm going to work Monday to Sunday, literally 7 days in a row, then that next Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to go binge watch something on Netflix. Like, I'm going to go watch Daredevil again.
I am not mature enough for Netflix. I'm just not mature enough.
For Netflix?
Yes.
It's dangerous.
No, it's literally in my bio. I am not old enough to do this. I am not old enough. I do not have the impulse control. Daredevil was the warning sign for me.
I've watched Daredevil like in its entirety 6 times, and I will watch those first 3 episodes like when I need comfort food.
Yeah, but no. So for me, that was the warning sign. The dangerous sign was Kill la Kill.
I watched Kill la Kill before it hit Netflix. So.
No, it hit Netflix. It was a massive binge, and that's when I said no. Because no disrespect to Kill la Kill, it's not a terrible show. It's not a great show either. But I couldn't have the impulse control to stop.
That was like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I had to stop. I'm not finished season 5 yet because I was like, we were watching like 5 or 6 episodes, and I'm like, I should be writing. But I guess for me that's also a symptom of burnout, is I just finding that motivation again is just crazy.
Well, no, it's not like one of the things is we and all of us have to sacrifice our time, right? Because because most of us have to. If you sit there and think about this, I work at a job. It's a job. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, it's a job. That's
the garbage day job, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna be. It's not quite a garbage. We'll just say for my sake, because it's my bitch. It's just what it is, right? And I'm being honest. Like I use it. It uses me. I'm very, very open and honest about that, right? So, and I can't believe I've actually said that my bosses have gotten away with it. It's another thing altogether. The thing about it is though, right? I do that. I come home. I give myself 2 hours in general just to unplug. Because honestly, let's be honest. Right after work, although you might, no matter how motivated you are, we all need that little bit of unplugged time, right?
Yep.
Yeah, YouTube's dangerous for me too at that point because it's easy to get sucked down that rabbit hole for longer than 2 hours.
Especially if you watch Let's Plays or something. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'm barely old enough for YouTube. So
I'm barely, I'm way too organized for this business, but it's just like.
Honestly, I one of the things I've learned on doing this is the more taking an organizational approach to it is actually the best way because it's one of the better. There are 3 keys I think to success. I actually mentioned this on my Twitter this morning. There's 3 most important qualities are the imagination to see yourself succeed, the passion to work it through, and the belief in yourself. Those are the 3 most important. But the tool to do it is organization and consistency. That's actually those.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
And it's such a. I feel so bad because what I do and the way I work is so different from the way so many other people work.
But it works for you.
It works for me, and it's I'm always doing panels. I've mentioned in every single panel that I've done this weekend is. Your mileage may vary. Just because I'm saying this is what works for me and this is how I function and this is how I do things, it might not work for you. And I mean, the only way that I'm able to balance as many projects and different things that I'm able to do and produce as much as I produce is because I have these crazy organization patterns from
it's a bit obsessive. I'm sure.
A little bit. And I just took on an editor role for a comics review site. So I am now a contributor and editor for shootthebreezecomics.com, and I'm just like, okay, I officially start tomorrow morning. So I'm just like, oh, on top of writing all of this stuff, having the day job, coming to conventions, getting ready for a book release, taking on editing clients and all that other stuff, I'm just like, okay.
No, so...
Sleep? What is sleep? See, the coffee kicked in now. I had a triple shot espresso before I came here, and now I'm just like,
I put peppermint in my coffee. That's how I make it stronger. But anyways, I'm evil that way, but that's okay. But the thing about what was I going to say? What I was going to put this is the way I look at a lot of writers where they fall short is some have vision, some have drive, some have no belief. Some have belief, some have no vision, right? But they have the heart. You can acquire the vision. The vision of the three, the vision's the one. If you don't have it, is the one you can learn to acquire.
Yes.
The other two, that's an internal thing. But I find that if you have all those three, usually at some point in that equation, organization, consistency, and follow through enter the equation.
Yes.
At some point, if you don't, I find if you are missing, okay, vision is maybe the one you're missing, right? That one aside, if you're missing one of the other two, you don't have the other the organization. You don't have.
Mm-hmm.
I find
for what it's worth, it took me so. With these new projects that are coming up, there is a very specific end goal. Like, I am building a portfolio for a very specific end goal. So these next 5 projects
are you taking over Disneyland?
I wish.
Okay, yeah.
No, there's like a very specific, like, I'm building a portfolio. So everything I'm doing right now is I'm building a portfolio. I'm putting up those bylines because I want to be able to show my work for a very specific end goal, which I don't want to talk about because it's not something that I've announced and it's not
But no,
this is one of the things that I'm saying is on one of my panels. It's like, if you don't put the work in, you're never going to get that job. So I am writing independently published books, a very specific style and with a very specific goal in mind to have a portfolio to get a job. It's like if you want to make comics, if you want to get into like Marvel. I'm wearing a Doctor Strange shirt today, so I mean like Marvel. So if you want to make comics and you want to get into comics and you want to prove that you can do comics and you want Marvel or DC or Image or Oni Press or whoever to be like, yes, we want you to come work for us, you have to put the work in. And prove that you can do the work. So if you want to make comics, go make comics. If you want to write a book, go write a book. Because you're never going to get your shot. You're never going to get somebody just hand you the keys to the X-Men if you're not putting yourself out there and you're doing the work. Like, nobody's going to be, hey, you're an unknown quantity, let's see what you can do. Like, that is so rare at this point without being able to prove that you can do the work. So you might as well do the work. And like, for what it's worth, it's taken me 5 years of my career to be like, okay, as an independently published author, to finally sit down and settle and be like, you know what, this is my goal. This is I'm always going to publish my own books, and I am always going to be querying stuff in the hopes to get an agent and become like a traditionally published author. But I have these are the books that I'm going to independently publish. These are the books that I'm going to send to query. If they don't go, then I will just independently publish them, because why not? I've always got more work. But with what's coming out, there's a very specific goal. It's not comics. Comics is a whole other monster that I haven't dipped my toes into yet.
I have.
I'm not quite ready to put my work into comics. I don't do art, so I would have to find a collaborator, and I don't believe in having people work for free, so I can't afford that. That's a whole other monster, which is a whole other podcast, which we should do later, because I can see what time it is, and I know you've got another appointment, and I should probably go get some food at some point. So
I was gonna offer a little advice on the comic end. It doesn't always work this way, but it's a little bit of advice on the comic end.
Sure.
Right. You live in your state.
I do live in your state.
Yeah, you do live in your state. So there have been some very prominent comic creators that happen to teach in that specific art school over there. You might know one or two of them. I know the same one or two. They both gave me the same advice. Actually, one told me flat out, "You're good enough. You just need the right collaborator. You have the right collaborator. You would be in, and you'd be probably one of the better ones out there." That's a hell of a compliment considering what he does right now.
Right.
But right. He goes, the way I need to look for it is you find somebody at, say, ACAD, or somebody at ACAD's the Alberta College of Art and Design, for those people wondering, or somebody with that kind of background that's hungry to want to do something on their own. And then what you do is you and that individual create a product together, and you put it out there together. Now you're not both of you are, but then are exactly in the same boat. The only challenge with that route, right, is finding somebody, the commitment and the organization.
And we're both writers compared, like, I don't draw, I don't do art. So for me, comics collaborating, I'm doing like 30% of the work.
That's not necessarily true.
It depends on your style of comic, it depends on what you're doing, and I always find that the writer does less work overall than having an artist, a flatter, a letterer, all that other stuff. All the graphic design stuff takes a bigger chunk of
no, absolutely. No.
So like it's like I'm doing 30% of the work compared to all the art and stuff because it is a visual medium. Yeah. Whereas if I'm going to collaborate with like a cover artist or somebody, whatever, I'm writing a thing and you're doing my cover art. So I mean, you're doing 100% of the work for like 1/10 of the book.
Yep.
You know, like. But that's a whole other monster, and that's a whole other podcast that I can literally sit and rant about.
Yeah, I know, totally. I just going down that, like, that's, I think the avenue you should go for the first one, even if it's a small story, even an 8-page story.
Oh yeah.
That would be the way I do it.
I have a thing that I'm working on, but it's kind of just taking. Comics have been put on the back burner because it's something that I want to do, but there's always going to be time for me to do a comic later, especially when I've got this whole 2-year plan. And that's the thing, is you gotta figure out your plan. Like, I went into doing this like self-publishing, I kind of just jumped in with both feet without really planning anything out, without having a marketing plan, without having, stuff. And I've seen moderate success. Like, I have a weird I love my dedicated little following, and they're all weird and wonderful, and I just love them to death. So I have like this little.
Do you have a cult?
I have a little cult
yes.
on the internet, and then I have a little cult that will find me at conventions and buy whatever is new. And like, there's a few people who are like, I bought your book like last year, and I have this one dude. He always finds me at Edmonton Expo or Calgary if he's down, and he comes and sees me. And he buys whatever is new, and he has literally bought every single one of my books, and he's always like, oh, you don't have anything new. I'm like, I'm sorry, I only put out like so many books a year.
I'm sorry.
It's just like, I'm sorry, I let you down. Oh.
That's right.
I let you down. I don't care. I'm doing the air quotes again, and I make Josh put his face on the table. But yeah, no, it's like that's it. It's like you gotta. I dove in with no training, no nothing, and everything that I've learned in the last 5 years of doing this is just like, holy God, there's so much. There's so much.
Absolutely, and it keeps coming.
And the market keeps changing, and the way you do things keeps shifting. Just like to put yourself out there, and it's exciting and it's different. But if you're not organized and you're not like if you can't get yourself organized, and if you can't, like, if you don't know what you're doing, for the love of God, ask somebody, find your tribe, find your cult, whatever you need to find. I outsource some stuff.
Yeah. And
I'm like, oh, thank God I'm outsourcing this, because that's one thing that's like
you don't have to do.
I don't have to do. But I'm also like a super control freak, so a lot of times I'm like, I'm going to do my own formatting, leave me alone. But I outsource my art, and I outsource my interior. Some of my newer books have like these little interior art like, when you like the fancy little wingdings that like go in between scene when you have a chapter and it's got like the scene break and stuff. He's gonna show me something in a book. Oh wow, that's beautiful. No, I have more like, the ones that go. That is freaking gorgeous.
I know.
He's showing me like a full page illustration inside his book. But yeah, like no, if I was gonna have a map, I would outsource that.
Yeah.
I can't draw fucking. Oh, can I say that? Oops.
You can say whatever you want. I'm good.
So Warren, I've never dropped an F-bomb on a panel, but I just dropped an F-bomb on this podcast.
High five. You leave me hanging. Come on. I am very amused this morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I say. I'm very in this. I'm just really playful, easygoing mood this morning. I've already accomplished my goal for the weekend, and as silly as it sounds, that was the Dr. Seuss off, right? Because,
right? Oh, so sad I missed that.
Yeah, but I think so, Miss Kai, let's sum up your big giant point real quick here. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes down to this. I mentioned this at the very beginning. You have to have imagination, you have to have the passion to follow through on it, and you have the belief in yourself to carry out no matter what. But the ultimate tools for those three skills ultimately are organization and consistency. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's fine. Don't let that stop you. However, there are a lot of people out there that have done this and have made mistakes, right? Talk to them. Is that
absolutely.
Good? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is that good?
That is pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. So Ms. Kai, I think we have an interview.
Mr. Josh, this was fantastic.
So before we go.
Yes.
So there's two things you gotta do here. You gotta plug what. So your next book comes out in September?
No, August 28th.
Dang.
Yeah, it's coming out in like 10 days from when we're recording this, and it is not ready.
It's not ready.
It's going to be an ebook only for the time being. The paperbacks will probably come out early next year. I don't know.
So we're going to say August-ish, August 28th-ish.
It's coming. The ebooks are coming out on August 28th. Regardless, I may have to sell a kidney to do it. I don't know, but they are coming out. August 28th, 2018. It's Blaze Tuesday on the Case of the Singing Canary, and then a shorts collection tie-in that goes in the series. They're all coming out, and they've got brand new covers. You can find me on Twitter at Raggedy Author, Raggedy Author, and then that's my website. That's everything else too. You can find all the information on there.
But this podcast does not condone selling of kidneys.
So I had a hoot listening to Kai here as I'm getting ready to put this episode up on the air. It was a while since this came up, unfortunately, but yeah, her books are up now. Her ebooks, she can be found at Raggedy Ann Author. Blaze Tuesday and A Case of the Night Surgeon and other Blaze Tuesdays are currently available. Definitely take a look at them. Kai is awesome, and I'm looking forward to the day we rent on comics. That'll be fun. And yes, I am laughing a little bit just thinking about that. This was definitely a very fun podcast for me to do. But that will do it for this episode of Just Joshing. So if you like this podcast, you can do a number of different things. You can go to Podomatic, iTunes, Google Play. Yes, that's right. This podcast is on Google Play, and you can leave likes, comments, subscribe to the podcast. Do whatever you can to get the word out there. I would appreciate it. A share is good. A tweet is good. An Instagram post is good. Whatever you feel like doing, that'd be great. My books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, The Wandering God, are available through MirrorWorldPublishing.com. Check them out there. Amazon, Kobo, wherever books, brick and mortar, or digital are sold, whichever you prefer, they will rock your socks off, I promise. Beyond that, Alice Zero is coming out on January 12th. Pre-orders should hopefully be up, I'll say, probably right before Christmas, so hopefully you guys take a look at that when it comes out. Beyond all that, thank you very much for listening to this podcast. Stay inspired out there. Do your thing, whatever that is. And above all else, stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Or at the very least, like Kai, have a master plan.
Josh.